Little, if any, rain and scorching temperatures. Not exactly ideal conditions to support vegetation. But turning that logic on its head is this desert in North China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region.
According
to our calculation, there are over 70 kinds of crops growing here. Many are not planted by us, but they just grow themselves.
Crops like corn, tomatoes, sorghum, and sunflowers, transforming more than 200 hectares of sand dunes into an oasis, all within 6 months. It's all thanks to new technology developed by researchers at Chongqing Jiatong University. They developed a paste made of a substance found naturally in plant cell walls. When it's added to sand, it's able to retain water, nutrients, and air.
The costs of artificial materials and machines for transforming sand into soil is lower compared with controlled environmental agriculture and reclamation.
The research team has big future plans. This fall, it hopes to transform an additional 200 hectares of desert and possibly more than 13,000 in the next few years. The method could be promising for China. In 3 years, the country hopes to reforest 50% of degraded desert land that can be treated. By 2030, the United Nations is aiming to reach zero growth of desert farmland around the world. So China's breakthrough experiment in converting sand to soil is promising for making land seemingly hostile to life fertile ground.
Jory lives near the desert. He has a new job working in a solar power station.
For 1,000 years, there's nothing here but sand in the middle of the Kubuchi Desert. And now, this is one of the largest solar power stations in northwest China, and it only took 2 years to build this oasis here.
The solar power station generates 500 million kilowatt hours every year. It also generates income for local people.
We've hired local people for construction and maintenance work. They also become shareholders by leasing land to us.
I used to earn 2,000 to 3,000 yuan a year. Now I get paid 48,000 yuan a year. It's a big difference.
This is an example of the desert economy in Kubuchi. It's part of the efforts of a private company called E-Line to roll back desertification.
The core of it is to balance the relationship between government, enterprises, farmers, and ecological environment.
Raising the income of local people is vital to the success, and the environment is also benefiting.
The sandstorms are much fewer, and the movement of the sand dunes has also slowed.
Various ways are being developed to improve efficiency and reduce cost, like reserving 40 days of water for a tree and planting licorice that sells for around 10 yuan per kilogram in the market.
The ecological management in the desert must be economical and respect nature and market rules.
The desert economy model in Kubuchi has turned 6,000 square kilometers of desert green, created 500 billion yuan in value, and helped 100,000 farmers out of poverty.
We believe this is a model that can be replicated, that can have multiplier effect, and it can be replicated everywhere in the world where we have the right kind of building blocks, what are here.
Hands inside, we're going up.
Okay.
In a vertical farm, you always got to watch out for your head.
Yeah. Whoa.
I went over to Portage, Indiana to check out Green Sense Farms, one of the world's largest commercial vertical farms, to gain a higher perspective and to find out if vertical farming really is the future of agriculture. What kind of lights are these? They look like Christmas.
These are produced by Philips, the large electronic company out of the Netherlands. They're our partner. And if you look underneath, you can see that it's made up of a series of red and blue diodes. What Philips has found is that you don't need the whole spectrum of light to have photosynthesis. The plants photosynthesize best with that red and blue light spectrum, and because of that, they use a lot less energy. You're not pumping all that energy in to produce that whole spectrum. They burn cool, and they're very efficient. As you can see under these LED lights, our produce looks brownish or discolored, but it isn't. It's really quite vibrant and green. When you bring it out into the ambient white light, you can see how fresh and green.
Yeah.
Most people don't eat fresh lettuce because it comes from California and takes 3 to 5 days to get to the store. This is our whole lettuce tower. And the way we plant this is we plant it specifically to a custom order. So a customer will come in, place an order, tell us when they want these to be harvested, and then every week after the first growth cycle, this crop comes right. So if you look up in here, you'll see plants at different stages of development.
What's the advantage of using a vertical farm as opposed to just a regular farm?
Well, the obvious is a horizontal farm only gets one level. Here you can see we can grow up. So we get much more density per square foot than you do in a field farm. Second, we can harvest daily here. We get about 26 harvests per tub, where a field farm will only get you maybe 1, 2, or 3. Also, a field farm, you could lose your whole crop if you have drought or you have inclement weather.
Being in a climate-controlled environment gives vertical farms the advantage of being safe from pests, eliminating the need for pesticides. And unlike traditional farms, vertical farms can also be harvested year-round, even in cold climates.
You could always use that cold air to help in your cooling of your room. The cold climates keep the bugs out, and it also helps in your savings of your energy costs.
It's sort of the opposite of traditional farming. You want the cold, you want the winter as opposed to the summer.
The cold's our friend. When nobody else is growing, that's when we're at peak capacity. We're all about climate control, creating that perfect atmosphere and climate in this grow room 365 days a year. This air rotation unit's a big part of that. The ambient air gets flows through these filters, up these fans, and then it gets treated with temperature and humidity controls, so that it's always the perfect temperature and humidity here.
The air is also sterilized with ultraviolet radiation to remove harmful microbes, and then enriched with a little extra carbon dioxide to speed up the plant growth process.
It blows out the top, and then it just circulates throughout the room.